Hey there, this is Erica from Ever Educating, and this channel is teaching tips, tools, ideas, and resources for new college instructors. We're reaching the end of the series of one video per major assignment. At this point, if you want to be talking to me one-on-one about your courses, I have a link to my Creative Confidence calls below. Or if you have questions that you want me to answer on live stream, I have that form link below as well. But today we're talking about a remediation project. And this can be done two different ways. So it could be remediation in the sense of a different medium, or it can be remediation in the sense of a different genre. So a genre remediation instead. So giving you some examples here. I did this in a writing course, though I think literature courses will work very well. Humanities in general, though I think there's potential in other fields too, which I'll get to in a minute here. But basically, you're in a writing course, like, okay, you turned in a 5-paragraph essay about this concept because I wanted to get a sample of your writing to see like where we're at, right, at the beginning of this term. Great job. For this project, you are going to remediate this 5-paragraph essay either into a different medium or a different genre. So for example, you might have, okay, here's my 5-paragraph essay about manatees, right, because you loved manatees and so you wrote about them. But now you're going to create a 5-minute video where you're talking to middle schoolers about manatees, okay? Or you might have, you had this paper about manatees, you're now going to create an infographic where you have facts and information about manatees, okay? So that's doing potentially a different medium, technically different genres as well, but you have, the written, you have the video, the visual, right? Or you might have the genre remediation. You had this 5-paragraph essay about manatees. Now you're going to write a poem about manatees. You're going to write a short story featuring manatees. You're going to create a series of haikus about manatees. So two different ways of doing this. Either is totally fine. And the goal here, right, is to have students critically think about what is the essential aspects of a piece of content. You have these 5 paragraphs that you wrote because you're required to write that much. But if you're only going to now write a poem, what elements of information from this essay do you feel needs to be in the poem in order to truly get the essence of the information about manatees? If you're going to write a script to create a video for middle schoolers, well, you are writing this essay to your professor. So how might the language change? How might the flow of the piece change? How might the visual aspect of it, right, become a major proponent of the video? Maybe you have, images with some text on the screen when you're creating your video. Well, you're not going to have the text of 5 paragraphs in this video, right? That wouldn't really work well for the medium. So maybe you have like short quotes, words here or there, alongside the audio, alongside the visual that you're creating. So the thing about what are the advantages and limitations of this new medium or genre that you chose, and with that knowledge, curate a new piece. So it really gives them deep thinking, right? Deep consideration for writing in its different forms, right? Not just literal writing, but video creation, maybe podcast creation, or, again, poetry, short stories, whatever the case may be. So this assignment, pros and cons, I really think it, again, gets students critically thinking about writing and media and how they immerse themselves and see the most important pieces about a piece of content, which they consider to be most important. It really gives them a sense of the importance of audience and the importance of medium and genre when curating. But some cons, students might struggle with this, right? Like, I don't understand what's the point of changing this. I already wrote the essay. Why do I now have to write a poem or create a video? Can't we just do something different? So you're gonna have to really get them to see, like, why are we doing this? Like, what skills are you learning? How can this apply to life outside of the classroom? So I do think it's important to have these discussions about critical media literacy, right? About, writing in its different forms, especially now in the 21st century, where a lot of writing takes place digitally and in a multimedia form. Now, as far as follow-up goes, I think this could be really interesting. Potentially, the new products, maybe they'll be willing to share it with their classmates. I wouldn't say have this as a requirement, but you might have somebody who's really interested in sharing their poem or their video with their classmates and discussing it. So you might have that option if students want to do that. I also think potentially having a follow-up in the sense of, okay, like you had to remediate your particular, piece from before, like let's kind of watch this video or read this blog post or whatever the case may be, listen to this podcast and discuss, well, how can we remediate these things or change the genre in ways that would become more appealing to you, right? Because maybe you don't find it appealing in its current form. So it gives you that level of being able to discuss critical media literacy. And I think that's an important part of writing courses and potentially literature courses as well. If you're teaching adaptations, for example, this could be a great assignment too. Now, I do think it has, again, potential in other fields as well. I think a lot of times, say potentially in STEM fields, students might find the writing a bit dry or like, okay, it's not really engaging. I now know what this physics term means, but it wasn't exactly fascinating stuff. Well, you might have, okay, well, you read this textbook chapter, now you're going to remediate it, right? You're going to curate a video that will appeal to high school seniors who are considering physics as a major. Well, you're going to convince them by creating a video that has a really engaging lesson on this concept from this chapter in the textbook. Or you might have, okay, well, we've been reading, about engineering this particular product, right? Well, we're going to remediate in the sense of actually creating the product, right? We're going to build what we've been learning about on paper or through videos. So that obviously would be a lot longer of an assignment, but I do think there's a potential for creating the physical from what you read, from what you watch in class. So just kind of some ideas there of how it might apply to other fields as well. This one, again, I have done this with students and it's been really interesting to see what they come up with. So I do think it has a creative piece which can be engaging to students while also having the really critical analysis aspects of it as well. So if you found this interesting or helpful, click like and let me know. Comment below if you have any ideas about this project too. And again, if you don't want to miss out on future videos about major assignments or about other teaching tips and ideas, go ahead and subscribe to this channel as well. I'll see you next time.